Hello and welcome to Precious Memory Box's Junk Journaling. And today I've got something fun for you. I am participating in the Junk Journal Studio Botanical Christmas Challenge and Giveaway. And it is running from November 28th through December 19th, 2025. Today is the 16th and I've got the calendar here. Most of the ladies on here, Minder78, Vintage Lace, Sam's Paper Creation, Pouring My Heart Out for the Lord, and Daily Dose of Happiness, and then of course Michelle from the Junk Journal Studio. They are all part of the team that Michelle has for the Junk Journal Studio, and I was lucky enough to be asked to be a guest designer this time for the challenge, and so I'm really excited to be participating, and thank you so much, Michelle, for asking me. And so the challenge is for that you create any project, big or small, using something from any of the botanical mega kits. So there are 5 different mega kits, each in a different color wave. I didn't bring all the papers with me, but if you jump back to Michelle's first video, and I will try to pin that down below, she'll show you all the covers to those. I was trying to find the papers. Here we go. So these papers are from the Botanical Collage and Cluster Mega Pack, the red add-on kit, and I chose these 2 out of there kind of as a base pages. So I've got those there. And then you also have to choose and use something from one of these 3 Christmas kits. And it's the Christmas Wonder Series, the Christmas Fussy Cut Mega Pack, and the Christmas Ephemera Mega Pack. All challenge digitals are 50% off during the challenge. So if you know already, you get large kits from the Junk Journal Studio. I mean, there's usually 30 to 50 pages in those kits. And so to get them at 50% off, because they're already a really low price, and now you're getting it half of that price. So it's a great time to go over to her Etsy shop and grab kits. It's the best time of the year to grab those. And that way you'll have them for next year also. Once you've gotten together your project, share your project on any platform, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and add the hashtag so that everyone can find you. So here's the Botanical Christmas Challenge. Now also, you need to make sure you post in their Facebook group if you can, because that's the best and easiest way for them to find you. So it's called, let's see, Fans of the Junk Journal Studio Facebook group. So check that out. And each day, especially if you enter there is a giveaway. When you enter, you can enter a project every day if you want, and you can be entered in to win a free digital every day. So there's been given free digitables. Uh-oh, my mouth isn't working. But you can get a free one each day. And I've been watching and following after that, and it's so inspiring to see all the projects that everyone is coming up with. All right, so like I said, I will link Michelle's first video below in case I missed anything here, but I hope you guys will participate. Go back and watch the videos. Lots of great ideas and inspiration there. All right, so I just figured we'd do this kind of like a fun craft together. I do have an idea, I just don't have everything cut out, but these are some of the different printables. I just printed out the ones that, I really liked. These are going to be our base pieces. And then I also printed out just some other papers from, each of the different kits that I liked. I love the collage sheets. That one was a blooper. My printer didn't do right, but I thought we could still use part of it. That's the other part of it. Then I've got some of the journaling cards here. That again, my printer is acting weird lately, but I never throw these away because you can use them. And we've got that one. And then I also printed some words out in red and green. All right. so let's get started. And what I'm going to make today, and I've got it in my head, we'll see if it'll work right. I've made it before a little bit different, but let's see if it will work for us today. Let me grab, let's see. I'm trying to grab a 12 by 12 sheet here, and I'm wanting to see, I'm not sure if those colors will match, but maybe we'll grab this green one here from this kit I have. Let me grab that out. I just want to have a 12 by 12 kind of as a background. So let me grab it, and we're going to be cutting it down, of course, to fit our project. There we go. All right. I love that green. All right. And what I want to do is I want to create a trifold tag out of this. So what I'm going to do first is cut the edges off here. And I could use my slicer, but I tend to actually cut straighter just by hand than I do with my trimmer for some reason. So we will just trim these off here. Hope everyone is having a good week. I hope you're staying warm. It has been really cold here. Oops. Today it's sunny out. It's a little bit warmer, but I think it's still only in the 20s. So it definitely has been colder. All right. So let's take and let's cut this down. Just cut off the branding strip there. All right. And let's see. I want to leave approximately just like 1/4 of an inch of a border around this. So let me measure my paper here. It is exactly 10. So let's cut this at 10.5. All right. Oops, a little bit over. There we go. That will be the width of it, and then we'll need to cut the height of it. It's actually, there we go, that's the width of it. Okay, height-wise, let's see. Our paper is about 7.5, so let's cut it at 8. Let's see how this works. Oh, perfect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab my score board. And let's see. I may go ahead and glue these together real quick before we score them. Let's do that. And let's see. Since we have such a large area, let's use our glue stick. So as everyone getting ready for Christmas? Are you done preparing? Are you making things? Or are you buying things? What's your traditions that you like to do? I like to craft and make things, but unfortunately, the rest of my family's not necessarily into that. So, so I usually end up buying, getting a list from my sons. They're both older adults now. And we've got a grandbaby this year. So that's going to be fun. But I usually, I just try to get a list and pick a couple things from the list that everybody wants. All right, so this corner's wanting to stick up, so I'm just going to take a little glue here, add that in there. All right. Now what I'm going to do, this is 10.5. So let me think here for a minute. I'd like to divide it in thirds. So 3 would be for 9. So 3.5, 7. That would be 7.5. So if we did 3.5, this might not be perfectly even, but that's okay. I'm trying to do it a little bit also so that we can keep the lines here. So I'm going to do 7. So the middle one will be a little shorter. Then the outside ones will be 3.5, and the middle will be 3. So we will have to see what that looks like. And then here's the inside. And we may glue our other page on here. All right. So we're going to have a little bit of an overlap, and that's all right. I'm all right with that. There we go. And then this will be on the back. Beautiful. It's from the Botanical Red Add-on Kit. But it looks so Christmassy to me already. Okay. Couldn't find my tag cutter. That's okay. I just grabbed another tag, and we're just going to use the corners on this to cut our corners on here. So we've tri-folded it like we want it, and I'm just going to line this tag up on this corner, and I'm going to cut all the layers at one time. And then we're going to come over here, and we're going to do the same thing. That way we will have even corners. And there we go. Pretty fast and simple. And so now we've got our triple fold tag. There we go. And then we can decide if we want to leave the inside this color, or I have this paper that coordinates with this one. So I think we're going to go ahead and cut it out, and I probably should have glued it down first. So I'm just going to take my scissors and trim right here, just where the little white is sticking out. Should have done that all at one time. Here we go. You know, they say work smarter, not harder, but sometimes I think I forget to employ that technique. All right, I'm going to use my bowl folder just to squish those down a little bit. And there we go. So we've got the beautiful inside, the beautiful Christmas colors, and then our beautiful outside. And now we can start embellishing. So one thing I wanted to do is, let's see if this lace is long enough. I wanted to create a lace belly band, and it is. So let's see if I can trim it up just a little bit, make it a little neater looking. There we go. And then we're going to grab some fabric tack. Oops, wrong thing there. There we go. We're going to just try to center that right here at the top. Press our lace down. And we're going to give that a moment to dry. And then I'm going to come down here and do the same thing. Okay. Make sure your lace is tight, but not too tight. All right. So let me hold those down just a moment. Maybe we can work on, I wanted to create a couple pockets over here. So let's see what we have. And I know I had an idea. I'm trying to remember what I wanted to use for the pockets. Isn't that angel beautiful? Okay, let's see. So I was thinking about using maybe some of the journaling cards as pockets or as decorations. We also have, these were pre-made pockets. They're a little larger on here, but I can cut them down a little bit. Let me see where the red one like that went to. I have one with green words and one with red words. And we've also got those, but I think those are a little too big. Maybe I got, oh, I've got them together there. I couldn't figure out why I wasn't finding them. But that's because they are hooked together here. There we go. So we've got this one. We've also got this one. But we've also got this one, which I think is perfect. So let me cut this out. Now I didn't make this. I did just print these on copy paper. So if you want it to be a little sturdier, you may want to print it on a cardstock. But I think for my purposes, I think paper will be perfectly fine. All right, do we want that to go here or here? I think over here, and I think we're going to have to trim it just a little bit more. It's a little bit too long, so let me see if I can trim off to these edges right here on each side. If you want to round your corners, you can do that, or you can leave them straight. Okay, let's see what that looks like. I think that's just about perfect. Might need just a little bit more. So let me cut just a little bit more because we don't want it to catch when we're folding it. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. Perfect. All right, let's grab our glue. And we're just going to, before we glue, let me grab my notcher here. This is a corner rounder and a notcher. Or if if you've got a hole punch that you want to use for a round one, grab that. All right. Gonna try to keep my glue as close to the edges as I can. And in case it's too long, I'm going to make sure that the extra comes out here and I can trim it off. And it looks like we may have it a little too long. So let me wipe that excess. Let me actually get glue on here. And then we will trim off the excess. There we go. We'll let that dry for just a moment. Let's see if our lace is dry here. Looks like it is. All right. So let me trim this off. And I may have to add just a little bit. Wrong pair of scissors. Those scissors don't like to cut. Oh, I pulled it up. That's okay. Nothing but a little more glue won't fix. All right. I'm really excited for this opportunity to be working with the Junk Journal Studio. I have a few of her kits and I love them because they're so versatile. There's so many pieces that you can use, so many things that you can just do with her kits. That needs to be a little tighter. Pull that a little bit, make it a little tighter. There we go. And we'll have to let that dry. All right, let's trim this pocket. I'm going to turn it this way so I can see it. All right, there we go. So that is trimmed off there. All right, let's decide what we want to do on this side. I am leaning towards one of these pockets because it's got the green and the red. Now this is definitely too big. So what I need to do is maybe measure what we need here. So let's see. Okay, so we need it to be about 3 1/4, okay? So 3 1/4. So what I'm going to do is just use my trimmer and cut it down. But I definitely love the colors of this. And let's see here. I'm just going to trim the words out of here. That'll make it easier to decide. And we said 3 1/4. So let me do this first. I'm just cutting excess amount off to make it easier. Now I've got 3 1/4 right here. There we go. All right. Going to go ahead and cut this out. So remember, it's okay to alter things when you want to make your things look different. Just alter them to what you need. We'll save that for a future project. All right. This pocket's going to be a little taller, which I think is kind of fun. And I think for something different, I'm going to round the corners at the bottom. There we go. let's go ahead and glue that down. Try to get a little ink at the top here where I didn't put in glue. All right. Gonna make sure we don't cover our bend and just glue that down. All right. There we go. All right. Now what are we gonna do to the outside? We want to find, let's see. I want to see if that angel picture will fit or if it's too big. Let's see if we trim it out. Let me trim that out a little bit. I don't think we're going to be able to, of course, get all the bells on there. But before I trim that off there, let's cut it with it. Because I do love the postcard in the bells, but I have a feeling it's going to be too big unless we want to try to wrap it around to the back. But let's see here. All right. Needs to be just a little smaller, but I love that. Yep, a little bit smaller. So we're going to have to go ahead and trim the bells off, which I hate to do. And a little bit of our picture. All right, and a little bit of this. All right. Let me get a bit of ink here. Where did my ink pad go? There it is. I've got walnut stain here. So just grab whatever your favorite color is, and I'm going to use this tag for a little more stability so I can ink it around the edges. I did try mostly to use paper, like I said, so that if you want to put this inside of a journal, like as an extra little folio, you could do that. All right. That is so pretty. And I think I want to do, trying to think what we could do at the bottom. Let's see. I may have, what did I do with the other piece of that ribbon? May have just enough ribbon. And then maybe we can add a word or something down there. Do we want to round the corners? Let's see if we like that better. Yes, I like that better with the rounded corners. And then we've got our lace. So let's go ahead and glue this on. Now you could use, let's use glue stick, since it's a little larger piece. All right. Just try to keep it straight. There we go. And then we're going to grab some of our fabric tack and glue the lace down. There we go. All right, I think we're going to find a word or two to add to the front with this. Since we've got a red and green background. Let's see here, what words do we want? This is from the Christmas Wonder Kit 3 ephemera, if you're wondering where it's at. We've got it says Merry Christmas right there. Let's do Christmas bells, because there's some bells still there at the bottom. All right. Let's see if there's anything from the green words that we'd like to add. Now remember too that you can always change the size of your printables, you know. What if we let's take this label off there and see what it looks like. And layer it along with that. Let's take a look here. So we do a little layering. Oh, I like that. Okay, let's ink it a little bit just to help it maybe stand out a little more. Okay. There we go. All right. Let me look again where I want those. Yes, okay. So I'm going to glue the word to the label first and then glue the whole thing down. There we go. And then since this is going on fabric, the lace, put a little extra glue on there just to help hold it in place. You could use the Fabri-Tac too if you want that. There we go. We may find something, not sure yet, may find something to put up here at the top. Looks like it needs a little something up there. I'm just not sure what yet. Okay. What do we want to add to the inside? My thought was to maybe add some tags. So I thought about maybe we could take another piece of paper and decorate a couple tags. So we can do that. That'll work perfectly. And I had some pre-made tags, so I thought, why not use them? And then we can just cut out some fun ephemera and add to our belly band. So let me go through here real quick and grab a few that we can cut out quickly. And we can use, oh, I have an idea of taking that star. Let's see here. Here's some we can cut out pretty fast. And my thought was, since this is kind of open there, is what if we take this star? Should have used my hole punch. Do we like that? I think I do. Next time, I'll use a hole punch. I only have 2 sizes. I need to get some more sizes. I have a really, really small one. And then I have a large one. I think it's like 2 1/4 inches. So there we go. All right, let's cut these out. A few of these out, and we'll add them to the belly band. And then we'll decorate our tag. And we will probably use a simple tie. I like to use lace or ribbon or seam binding like crinkled seam binding for my closures. Or you can even use an elastic with a button if you have that. Those are always fast and easy to use. These journaling cards will make great journaling spots for anyone. You could also use them as gift tags on your cards for your Christmas gifts. And this little trifold tag trifold could also be a great gift to a crafty friend that you could just load up with ephemera or fun things you've created. So lots of different ways to use this. Put it in a journal. You could add gift cards to the pockets and give it as a gift to someone. So lots of different ways to use it. All right, we'll cut out this one last piece and that'll be enough to add to our belly band. All right, let me do that. Let me ink these real quick. Just so you can see the finished product. These you can tell I did print on colored stock because they're holding up a little easier to my inking. There we go. And let's do one more here. I love the gold. All right, and let's go ahead and add that one in there. There we go. All right, let's grab our 2 tags here, and we're just going to cover one side of them so that the other side can be used for journaling. So let me grab, let's see, I've got this paper here and that one there. All right, and I do everything the simple way. So what I do is I just glue it on, and then I cut around it. Okay, so just kind of look where I want to place it. I want to get some of that poinsettia in there. So we're just going to line it up in this corner, glue it down. All right, and let's see, I like this, so let's see if we can use that somehow. I'm thinking maybe I could kind of just glue it in the center there. So let's go ahead and get some glue on here. Okay, that is the deer. Where is my, there it is, star. All right, we're just gonna go for it here. See what we get. There we go. Sorry if I'm down too low. I tend to forget my workspace area. Okay. I'm gonna rub that down. We'll let that dry a moment and we'll cut out this one. And I think we'll just add a sentiment to it because they're so pretty on their own. Okay, we're going to cut off the bottom because I forgot about the white edge, but that's all right. There we go. And then let's see. Do I have... No, I have my hole punch in here. It's just a matter of where I put it last. There it is. All right, I'm going to punch the hole here. There we go. And I'll grab a word and we'll add that on there in a moment. All right, let's cut this one out. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the challenge. I hope you've been following along. I hope you've been participating. And there are 3 more days after today, if I remember correctly. So it'd be the 16th, and then you'll have the 17th, 18th, and 19th still. Oh, look, we did pretty good on that. All right, let's punch the hole. There we go. You can add string to that. But what I'm going to do is, let's see. I think I covered all my words up here. Let me find them. Here we go. Let's grab something off of our green sheet. What do we want? So we've got Christmas flowers. Let's grab that for the poinsettia ones. You've got 2 different sizes there. So you have large and small. That really helps. Okay, so we'll add that one to that one. And you can just barely see snow falling. And I see snowflakes falling, so I'm going to cut that one out of this one. All right. You can ink these if you want. I think I'm just going to go ahead and glue them down. I think I'll add that up there. You could glue more ephemera on these, but with as pretty as they are, it's not necessary. Just the little sentiment, I think, is perfect. And I think I want to put Christmas flowers more down towards the center of this one. There we go. So there is our 2 tags we made. You, of course, can add more or less. I'm going to round the corners of the bottoms here. Just makes them easier to slip in and out of your pockets. Sometimes the corners, they want to catch. But if you round your edges, they'll slide in most of the time easier. Especially since I kind of made those tight pockets. All right, there is our trifold tag. It's quick and simple to make. You know, you can add as much or as little as you want. I still would like to add, I made it a little thicker by adding those tags, so I'll have to fold it over a little bit more there. There we go. Just gently do that and it'll work for you. And then our belly band should be dry enough now that I can trim up that lace. Oops, there we go. Caught a little bit of the paper, but that's all right. All right. There we go. Oh, and I see that was my little tag. So I might have to come back and trim that one little tag. All right. I will keep thinking about what I could add up there. I just think it needs something there. I'm just not sure what. So I will keep thinking on that. And maybe before I get this posted, I'll add it to it so it can be in the picture. And then I have got some lace here. Now this lace is more of a bright white. I think I've got some more antique looking one that maybe we'll use because that one's really bright. Let's see, where did my other lace go? Let me grab some here. You could also use, so you could use lace, but I was just thinking you could also use twine. Let's do that. Let's use the baker's twine. I've got quite a long piece here. So we definitely don't need this much, but let's go ahead and let me stretch it out here till it's even. And we can decide how many times we need to wrap it around. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that. And then I'm going to cut this over here to meet that. And we'll tie a bow. Let me get all my little scraps out of the way here. I kind of work in a limited space, so I gotta constantly pick up my space here so that I have room to work and so that you guys aren't distracted by my clutter. All right, and we'll go ahead and tie a little loose knot over here to the side and a bow. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you again to Michelle for allowing me to be part of her collaboration. I hope you guys will go and check out her video. If you haven't seen it yet, go over and join the Facebook group if you're not a part of it. There's a lot of inspiring ideas over there. And just thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you. Bye.